Welcome to Does It Matter by Brainy Ballers, where we dissect the game with cutting-edge analytics to give you the upper hand. We analyze everything from hand sizes to average depth of targets to uncover hidden trends that no one else sees. Say goodbye to guesswork and hello to data-driven domination. Because here at Brainy Ballers, we don't just watch the game, we understand it. So get ready, it's podcast time.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. You know, for years, whether you're just watching games, scouting players, or maybe setting your fantasy lineup, there's this question. How much does that 40-yard dash time at the NFL Combine really matter for tight ends?
Yeah, does it actually predict success?
Exactly. So today we're diving into some pretty fascinating research. It crunched years of data to try and answer just that. Our mission, cut through the numbers, give you the important stuff.
And what's great here is how this deep dive takes that one specific athletic test, the 40, and really rigorously checks its predictive power using tons of fantasy football data.
Okay, so let's unpack it. The sources we looked at focused on the top 50 fantasy tight end finishers each season, going all the way back to 2003.
Right.
And specifically, they used PPR scoring points per reception, where every catch counts extra, making those receiving tight ends really valuable in fantasy.
Crucial detail, that PPR scoring.
And here's another key thing. They only used official NFL Combine 40 times. No pro day numbers. The idea was to spot real trends, comparing the very best performers against those near the bottom of that top 50 group.
Yeah, the methodology was smart. They wanted to find that sort of sweet spot, Avoid the guys who barely played, but still get a solid comparison between the top guys and what they called the bottom 10 players, ranked 41st to 50th each year.
Gave them a solid base for comparison.
Exactly.
And right away, this is where the data started talking.
Yeah.
Just looking at the average 40 times, there was a really clear trend. Faster times consistently linked up with the top producers. Get this. Over 21 seasons, the average 40 for the top 10 tight ends was always the same or faster than the guys finishing down in that 31st to 50th range.
Always. That's pretty striking.
It really is.
So naturally, the big question for anyone evaluating talents is there a magic number? Is there an optimal 40 time?
The threshold.
Exactly. The research tried to pinpoint that range. They did it by comparing specific time cutoffs, looking at the difference in appearance rates between the top guys and the bottom guys. And initially, the data seemed to point towards 4.68 seconds and below. That looks like a strong signal.
And they checked that, right?
Yeah, they did. So look at all the bottom 10 tight ends since 03, 153 players total. 40.5% of them ran 4.68 or faster.
Okay.
But then look at the top 10 finishers, 159 players in that group. Suddenly, 61% ran 4.68 or faster. That's a jump of over 20%. Pretty significant.
That's a big difference.
But they didn't stop there. They dug a bit deeper, fine-tuned it.
Oh, interesting. What did they find?
They refined that optimal threshold a little bit more, landing on 4.76 seconds and below. And this adjusted range, it showed an even stronger link.
Stronger how?
A 22.5% increased appearance rate in the top 10 compared to the bottom 10. So slightly slower than the initial 4.68, but actually a better predictor overall. That 4.76 and under, that seems to be the key range to really focus on.
4.76. Got it. And they use stats to back this up, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Do you want to start dominating your drafts? At BrainyBallers.com, we've researched every metric under the sun for you to find which ones are best linked to fantasy points. You can access hundreds of metrics to sharpen your scouting ability so you know which metrics matter and which are just noise. Stop guessing on which thresholds to look for within each metric. Big numbers can be misleading or irrelevant. Our Ultimate Athlete Blueprints reveal essential scouting metrics, their importance and benchmarks within each metric that help predict a player's probability of being a success or bust. Elevate your scouting ability with Brainy Ballers' Ultimate Athlete Blueprints today. Click the link in the description. Now back to the show.
It produced a Pearson value of 0.222.
Okay, Pearson value. Remind us what that means in this context.
Think of it like a score for how strong the connection is. For top athletes like these, anything above 0.1 or below negative 0.1, if it's an inverse relationship, is generally considered significant.
So 0.222 is definitely significant then.
Absolutely. It tells us the 40 time isn't just, random noise, it's a real signal. To give you some perspective, it's comparable to something like the known importance of draft capital for running backs. That had a Pearson value of negative 0.234, similar strength, just an inverse relationship.
Wow, okay, so it's on par with other accepted predictors.
Pretty much, yeah. And there's one more piece looking at trends over time.
What's that?
The data showed something pretty crucial. When they compared the most recent decade to the earlier years in this study,
Yeah.
there was an 18.2% increase in how often tight ends hitting that optimal 4.76 or below time showed up in the top 10 versus the bottom 10.
So it's becoming more important over time.
It appears so. In the modern NFL, this speed metric seems to be getting even more significant for predicting top tight end fantasy performance.
Okay, so let's wrap this up. What's the big takeaway for you listening at home? Whether you're deep into scouting reports or just trying to win your fantasy league. Well, this deep dive makes it pretty clear. Look, we know lots of things go into a player being successful. It's complex. But a fast 40-yard dash, especially hitting that 4.76 seconds or below mark, it's a powerful predictor, and maybe an increasingly important one for tight end success, at least in fantasy terms.
It's definitely not the only thing, but it's a factor you probably shouldn't ignore.
Absolutely. One important piece of the puzzle.
And, you know, it makes you wonder, as the game keeps evolving, more focus on athleticism, speed, how might this specific measurable trait start to influence actual NFL drafting strategies more and more? Not just fantasy.
That's a great question. Something for everyone to think about.
Definitely something to ponder.